A few days ago, Nintendo just dropped the trailer and release date for their highly anticipated mobile game, Mario Kart Tour. And to say the least, things are looking pretty great. When the beta was launched back in May, I had mixed feelings about it. I liked the gameplay a lot, and I liked how many characters there were along with character-specific items returning, but the lack of new tracks and certain other elements I'll get into later made it seem like more of a port of Mario Kart 7 rather than a new game. Fortunately, that wasn't the case for the full game. There are a mix of brand new tracks based on real-world locations, while also having old ones return, pretty much all from Mario Kart 7. And that's exactly what I wanted. It's been over 5 years without a new Mario Kart, and even though I'm not the biggest mobile gamer, I'll take it. And these tracks based on real-world locations look great. I always love when games take inspiration from the real world. These tracks don't have names yet, but from what I can gather, these tracks are based on New York City, Paris, and 2 courses based on Japan respectively. The first Japanese-themed course seems to be based on Akihabara, which is a shopping hub in Tokyo known for its electronics shops. Which makes sense because Nintendo is an electronics manufacturer. The other one has more traditional Japanese architecture with pagodas and paper lanterns throughout the track. Then there's one based on Paris which is pretty self-explanatory. It wouldn't be a Paris-themed track without the Eiffel Tower, and there's a shortcut you can take in Arc de Triomphe. You know, considering this is a Paris track, I wonder if the rabbits will appear. Ubisoft has its headquarters in Paris. Would be a fun surprise. But where things get interesting is with the New York theme track. When I first saw this, I thought it was New Donk City, and that's a pretty fair assumption to make, right? But as it turns out, it looks a little bit different than New Donk City. We can see that Broadway is here, which is a real-life location, along with many of the street signs from New Donk City not being present here. So this could very well end up being New York City, but with a very DK twist. Maybe Old Donk City? Nintendo stated that the tracks would rotate every 2 weeks, so it is kinda like having a tour around the world, and that opens the possibility of having other tracks based on real-world locations. On top of that, we got 3 retro tracks that weren't in the beta. These tracks are DK Pass, Cheep Cheep Lagoon, and my favorite Mario Kart track of all time, Waluigi Pinball. What's funny about that last one is in the first Mario Kart Tour video I did, I said, so don't expect any tracks like Waluigi Pinball. But to my surprise, it's here in the game. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me if we got every track from Mario Kart 7 because a good chunk of the tracks from that game are present. But that's about it for the tracks. If you want to know about all the tracks that are in the game, I have a link to the Mario Kart Tour page on Mario Wiki in the description. But what about characters? That's another fundamental of Mario Kart. It's always fun having a great roster of characters to play around with. In addition to the characters we knew about from the beta, we have 3 returning characters, 1 that's been requested for the longest, and 2 potentially new characters. It was hard to spot 2 of these characters even when I played the trailer at a fourth of the speed, but I have evidence that they're present. Lakitu was a character that wasn't included in the beta, but is present here. This is something that I thought that, yeah, it's a beta, the game isn't complete yet, and there was really no surprise that he would be included in the final game. It's a little hard to see him, but he's here. One that was even harder to see was Bowser's favorite son, Bowser Jr. I had to pause the video to catch a frame where he's present, but I'm glad he's here. But to my surprise, after an 11-year absence, Diddy Kong is finally back. I saw so many comments on Mario Kart Tour videos wanting him to come back, and it's awesome that he's here. I did not expect that to happen. In fact, I expected the roster to be fairly small, but this looks like it could be the biggest and best Mario Kart roster ever. It appears that every character from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be present in this game, besides the crossover characters and 3 notable exceptions. No Cat Peach, no Tanuki Mario, and no Pink Gold Peach. Nathaniel Bandy rejoice! But don't worry, Nintendo had something else to replace Pink Gold Peach. That's right, Peachette is playable. She could be a costume. After all, Mario Kart Tour does have costumes for characters, but would it be a costume for Toadette or Peach? I'm just gonna say that this abomination right here is a new character. But there's another character I just found out about, and this is a character that I and many others have begged for. In the App Store listing for Mario Kart Tour, it has a snippet about costumes. Look under Mario. You see something interesting? That's right. Pauline could very well be a playable character. Pauline is one of my favorite characters in the Mario franchise, and I'm so glad she's getting the love that she deserves. I honestly would like to see Mario with Pauline from now on, to be completely truthful with you. She got kidnapped a few times and then became a mayor of a major city, while also having a talent for music. and being so grateful to Mario for making sure the festival in New Donk City went well. What does Peach do? Get kidnapped and be ungrateful when Mario rescues her. Exactly. So that covers it for the characters, but there are a few more things I'd like to address which are the most controversial aspects of the game, the gacha mechanics. You know how I said I didn't like the lack of new tracks and a certain other thing in the beta? Well, that certain other thing was the gacha elements, and I'm sorry to say this, but I'm 75% sure they're returning like they were in the beta. The good news is, you can earn drivers by collecting Grand Stars. That's great, but it seems that the pipe from the beta will still be used to unlock characters. But what about that 25% of uncertainty? Looking at some of the new screenshots, I noticed that instead of saying rare next to Daisy after you unlock her, it says super. So maybe you could unlock characters by using Grand Stars as currency, but the pipe will be used for carts, gliders, and costumes? I'm really not sure. But it's safe to say the pipe will be the main way of unlocking characters. That's suckish, but there is still hope that it's improved upon from the beta. Besides these three things, here are some other things that have changed since the beta. The game looks way more polished than it did during the beta. These character models have improved textures, the text is flashier, and it is overall a big improvement from the beta. And with the new Frenzy mode, you're able to get combos to increase your score, with Fantastic being the highest. This feature wasn't present in the beta. There was still a Frenzy mode, but you couldn't get combos like you can in the final game. And finally, the rear view is in a much more convenient place than it was before. Rather than being in the top right, it's towards the bottom of the screen, which is way easier to use. I'm not sure how many people are going to use it, but it's there. So here are some things you might have missed about Mario Kart Tour. What do you guys think? Anyways, thanks for watching and keep calm and Dada on.